Good morning to you. Good morning. Amen. 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 Hey, listen, this morning I just want to come briefly with you this morning. Um, and we're thanking God for this morning. Amen. I know that I am. I know that you are. I just want to just a moment with you before I go into the work. It is a sunny day in North Carolina. Amen. However, there's some weather on the way, so we're gonna be looking at that, and it's a possibility of some closures that will be happening over the weekend. And I will get more information, and as we do, I will, update you all first and foremost to my Ashley Grove family. We will definitely keep everyone posted as we get more and more information about the oncoming weather. Amen. But this morning, I just want to come briefly with you. Like I said, before I go to work today, you know, I'm really happy, y'all. God has really enlightened some things on Pastor Jay, and Pastor Jay is listening hard to what is being said. Amen. Um, there's sometimes we get in this place, in this mode of where we feel like we done all we can do. We've done everything. We've said everything. We've apologized. We have tried to make amends. Anybody ever tried that? I had an incident not too long ago where, sometimes we want to say, look, I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying to do everything. And then God says, you know what? This battle is not yours no more. Let it go. And all week long, for the last few days, God is saying, dust your feet, walk away, do this, do that. And He's doing some things right now that is, God is just saying, we're having to do things differently. Amen. We're having to do things differently. God is saying, release your cares, release your burdens, release your thoughts, release, release. Amen. And so when I think about that thing, um, God is just saying release. And sometimes we got to release some things even when we don't want to. Amen. And we carry that weight so much until, you know, but the first thing we got to do is release our attitudes, release our mind, release what God has got for us. Amen. Release. God is saying release. Huh? Release. It's not in Matthew, but Matthew 10 says, dust our feet. Amen. And we was talking about that on our last broadcast, dusting our feet, moving forward, all that good stuff. But releasing so that you can get more. Amen. When we start doing stuff like that, when we start giving our enemies power, when we start giving our situations power, when we start giving our doubts power, when we start giving our situation, our healing power, when we start giving all that power, our struggles, our sickness, our insecurities, when we start feeding into the doubt and we start feeding into those things, we're actually making the devil happy. Amen. But how many know that when we start speaking life in ourselves, amen, when we start saying, God, I hear you, amen, when we start saying, God, I know that you're in the place, amen, when we start saying, I have healing, I have financial blessing, I have friends that I never knew was going to be my friend, amen. When somebody said that, hey, y'all, some time ago, I lost a best friend, amen. I lost the best friend. They went, gone to glory. And, you know, during that time, there was only a few people that knew what Pastor Jay was going through. Amen. They only knew what John was going through because I didn't share much, because I guess my feelings was like I still got to wear a smile. Amen. But the thing was, it was hard to release the pressure, and you want to, but you couldn't do it. Amen. Because some folks might look at you and say, well, where's your faith at? You talking about faith. You're talking about this. You're talking about that. But where is your faith? And then God reminded me that you're going to have times in your life when it don't look like faith is around the corner, or when hope has left you. And it looks like that the situation is above your head. Somebody says, I've been there. Amen. You can type it if you want to. There's been times when the situation has been above your head and you tried to put on your device so that you could breathe underwater, but you start bubbling. You even started thought that you was choking. Amen. And then finally, when you stretched out your hands, somebody said, I stretched out like Moses did when he stretched that staff out. He said, here I am, Lord. You know, and all of a sudden there was a gateway that opened up. Amen. That gateway opened up for them. And then what happened is once the gateway came, when Pharaoh's army was behind you, when there was hills on both sides and there was an ocean in front, all of a sudden the sea parted, your situation parted so that you could walk through the situation instead of trying to cross over the situation or trying to go back through the army. But the thing is, when we release the situation, my heart got better. Amen. And you know what's so wonderful? It didn't take a lot of folk to come around and say, hey, it's going to be all right. I had to start saying it to myself. So I'm saying that today. I don't know who this is for. Sometimes we got to speak to ourselves and say, it's going to be all right. Amen. You know, we have to say that it's going to be all right. I dare somebody to say that this morning to yourself, to the world. It's going to be all right. Don't worry about what the government doing. Don't worry what's happening in Greenland. Don't worry about what's happening in the White House. Don't worry about what's happening in the church house. Don't worry about what's happening in the workhouse. Don't worry about what's happening in the internet AI house. Think about where God is moving you. Who's God? Who and what is God placing? Who is placed in your life? And who needs to take an exit out of your life? And who that you really want to be part of your growth? Uh-huh. What you want in your growth? What God is putting in your growth? Sometimes God put the best people in your life and you let them walk away. All because there's a little bit of buzz in the air. Somebody says, there's a little drama. But you know, drama don't last always. Oh, I don't like the person that they hang around with. Hey, they didn't ask you to hang around that person. They needed you for their comfort. Sometimes people got to understand it's not about you. Sometimes you got to let it go and release and say, it's about me too. It's about them too. It's about me growing in the world in this ministry, and so that I can go tell the world how he set me free. But listen, y'all, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. Just remember, don't hold on to what you don't have. Hold on to what you do have, and that's the everlasting Father. If you haven't heard anything else I said, hold on to what God has for you and only for you. And listen, it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but you need to stay close by, because at a drop of a dime, God may throw that blessing and say, here I am. And he may say, I need you to stay right there for a little while they're going through this situation. I need you to be the mouthpiece. I need you to be the sounding board. I need you to be the one that encourages them, because you have been entrusted to be a minister to my people. Don't care what they look like, what they put you through, how they put you through. And as a matter of fact, there's some folks that I had to remind myself, regardless of how they look at me, I'm going to send them a text and say, hey, how you doing? I'm just thinking about you. Regardless if they left me and ghosted me, I'm going to say, I still love you. Whether they was in my life or not, whether you're so even people that is expelled, until God says leave totally, he will, because how many know he will make your enemies your footstools. and he'll make your burdens light. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I love you to life. My brothers, my sisters, all my pastor friends, all my favorite people, Ashley Grove, St. Luke, everybody, my family. I love you all. I'll see y'all next time on another Pastor J moment.